Staying with China. Last week, the Chinese president visited Saudi Arabia, a visit aimed at strengthening ties with the kingdom. Since then, we've been telling you the many outcomes of the visit, the many deals that Beijing and Riyadh have signed, the many projects that they've agreed to work upon. But the most fascinating yet controversial outcome of this visit is this. Look at this headline now. According to China Daily, Riyadh has okayed the use of Chinese textbooks. What does that mean? It has approved Mandarin language books for public consumption as well as educational purposes. These textbooks could, in essence, be meant for primary and high school students. They could be made a part of their curriculum. The Saudi Education Ministry has already certified them. Reports say that these books are especially designed for Arab students. They were created based on the experiences of Mandarin teachers who spent several years understanding Saudi Arabia's life and culture. Here's what the company behind the books has said in a statement. Allow me to quote. The books combine traditional Chinese and Arabic cultures and customs, creating an innovative style of expression and presentation adapted to the reading methods and habits of Arab people. The textbooks focus on practical usage and promote interaction between teachers and students with topics closely related to students' daily lives. That's not all. Reports further say that Saudi Arabia has also set up courses related to the Mandarin language in more than 9 universities in the country. It has also trained more than 300 local Chinese language teachers for the same. And besides this, the company behind the textbooks has also set up an HSK test center in Saudi Arabia's capital, Riyadh. The HSK test center is primarily an institute which conducts these tests on proficiency in the Chinese language in particular. In October, more than 9 Saudi students took part in such a test. 60 more students are expected to take the test in the days ahead. So what exactly is the aim behind such a move? Well, on the face of it, the intention is to promote cultural and language exchange programs between the two sides. But that's just on the face of it. That's how Saudi Arabia perceives it. But it's hard to judge China's intentions behind all of this. I say this because Beijing has a track record of using Mandarin as a soft power tool. A tool to infiltrate campuses the world over and instill Chinese values and its own thought process. Allow me to digress a little. You might have heard of Confucius institutes. We've carried several reports on them in the last 2 years. These institutes are named after the philosopher Confucius. He was a Chinese sage who lived 2,500 years ago. His principles of wisdom are used as China's handbook on governance. For centuries, Chinese civil servants had to pass exams based on these very texts, Confucian texts. In 2012, when Xi Jinping came to power, he took special interest in Confucianism. At home, he started referring to it in his speeches, and abroad, he directed special funds to expand these institutes globally. The aim was to use them as a soft power tool to promote Chinese values, culture, and language. As of today, there are more than 530 Confucius institutes in dozens of countries across 6 continents, where 100 million students and counting. Beijing spends $10 billion a year on them. Imagine that. And what for? In the words of Xi Jinping, the aim is to tell Chinese stories well and spread Chinese voices well. But is that really what these institutes do? Not at all. In a 2017 report by the Wilson Center, Chinese students studying in the US claimed to be victims of monitoring. They accused faculty members at these Confucius institutes of keeping an eye on their day-to-day activities. In December 2019, a university in Belgium shut down a Confucius institute over allegations of spying. A professor at this institute was found conducting espionage for China. I could go on. In January 2020, the University of Maryland shut down a Confucius Institute. It found that Beijing was trying to politically influence academics. That's not all. On your screen now is a report from Human Rights Watch. It came out last year. The report calls Confucius Institutes extensions of the Chinese government. Censorship is rampant in such schools, and hiring of teachers is based on political loyalty to China, of course. China runs hundreds of such institutes the world over, and according to Human Rights Watch, many teachers feel uncomfortable with the presence of such schools on campuses. They feel their teaching could be compromised. This is how China infiltrates classrooms. It funds schools in the name of culture and people-to-people ties. And then it imposes censorship on campus. My point is simple. These schools serve only one purpose for China: push communist agenda, propaganda around the world, and ensure the party's influence spreads beyond China's borders. So what's all this got to do with Riyadh approving Chinese textbooks? Well, it may just be the first step in a series of planned moves by Beijing. Look at this headline now on your screens. Saudi Arabia too is about to get its first Confucius Institute. The University of Jeddah has apparently already given its approval. So my advice to Riyadh is this: when it opens the doors to Chinese universities, it must also watch out for Chinese incursions on its campuses. WION World is now available in your country. Download the app now and get all the news updates on the move.